Hey guys, Rachel from RK Ribbon Designs. We're going to be making some ribbon roses. I know I've done a tutorial already, but I figured we'll just do this tutorial where we'll have a few different varieties in the one tutorial so you won't have to kind of switch back and try to find them. So I'm doing a little tabletop tree. I mean, it's kind of a larger size one. This one will probably be about 3 feet tall, but I wanted to use some ribbon roses. I like to use them in place of bows sometimes because I feel like then it won't get so squished in your tree. And so right now I've made some of the bubble ones and they're so pretty. And this is actually ribbon from this year from Sam's Club. It's gorgeous. So I'm going to make some bubble roses with you with that. Then we're just going to make some regular roses. This was a ribbon I got from where I worked at the ribbon outlet, or I don't know, maybe I got it after, I don't know, but this one's an older one. And then I have this one, it's also an older one from Sam's Club, but I love the glittery ones. They make really pretty bubble roses because when you fold them over, they're just glittery all over. So I'll show you how to make that, but we'll make a regular size one with this too that's not a bubble. So first let's start with our 1.5 inch ribbon. So the thing is, you always want to have to make sure that it's wired ribbon. And typically, I know, you know, like when you're talking about ribbon, a lot of people will talk about like the wire and the strength and the quality. When you're making the roses, you don't really want that high quality ribbon. I know it's kind of crazy, but it's because if that wire gets too stiff and that ribbon is really thick, it's going to be hard to gather it to make your flowers. So honestly, the best ribbon to use to make your roses is your ribbon that you can get from Sam's Club or Costco. Those are fantastic to do it because they're such a great price, and the quality is usually decent for the roses. Otherwise, you want like your lower end ribbon when you're making your roses. Now sometimes I've got some from Sam's Club and Costco where you just can't pull the wire. It's just not happening. So sometimes you'll run into issues like that, but for the most part, all of them are going to have, you know, it won't be a problem. So what I usually do is I typically just take my wire and then I just run it till my arm is straight, and then I'm holding it here. It ends up being about 1 yard. There's not like a super magic number, but the thing is, the less ribbon that you use, the less fullness your flower will be. So sometimes you might not want it to be super full, so use less ribbon. Now if you go too much over 1 yard with the 1.5 inch, then it's gonna be too much to have to wrap, and it's not gonna stay as a flower. So typically about 1 yard to like maybe 4 feet is what you want to be, you know, about. So 3 to 4 feet of your ribbon. So then we're just gonna cut it here. And also, if you're dealing with a ribbon that's a lot thinner, like sheer ribbon, you can go a little longer because it's going to gather really quick. If it's a little thicker ribbon, then you want to pretty much stay at a, you know, little over 1 yard, because it's not going to, or actually, I'm sorry, it's the other way. If it's a little stiffer, you want to go over 1 yard. If it's sheer, you can stay at 1 yard because it will gather really tight. All right, so we're just going to tie a knot here, and you can just leave a little bit of a tail. That is going to be your stem if you want it to, but I'm going to be gluing these into my tree, so I don't need it to be too long. But this depends on on you, how long you want your stem, because you can wrap it with floral tape, and then you can put like a floral wire so that it can be on a pick. So you can kind of control that. So also account for this in your length that you're cutting. So if you're going to have a longer stem, make sure you're cutting your ribbon just a little slightly longer. So now I'm going to have the nice side of the ribbon pointing away from me, and then I'm going to take the right side of my ribbon here, and then I'm just going to pull it out. And I know I'm backwards in the video, but this is the right side of the ribbon, and I'm just going to pull it, and then I'm just going to gather my ribbon down. And you're going to gather all the way down to where you have your knot. And a lot of your wired satins that people like hate to deal with, they make really pretty roses. So if you have any and you're like, I just can't really make a bow with it, make some roses with it, because it works really well. So we're just going to gather it. So it's all gathered. Now, even though it's all gathered, I'm going to go through one more time because the gathering is the most important part of your rose. You want to make sure that it's a tight gather. If it's not tight enough, it's not going to wrap properly. So I'm going to go through it one more time, kind of twist it so it's all the same. And then I'm just going to take my thumb and my index finger and I'm just going to gently pull back little by little. And you'll be surprised how much more you could have gathered your ribbon. So we're gathering it. So that's how much more I was able to gather it. So now I'm going to pinch here and I'm going to take my wire here. I'm going to gather these two ends together. And there's this little piece of wire here that's sticking out from the other end of the ribbon. And I'm just going to fold that and tuck it down. And then we're going to take our wire and we're going to wrap this little tail. And you can leave a little bit of your ribbon and then we're just going to wrap it. Now you can wrap it a few times and then cut it, but instead of having a bunch of waste of your wire, I'm just going to keep wrapping it. And you're going to wrap it down until you have about 6 or 7 inches of wire remaining. So about like that. Then you're going to come back to your knotted end. So now we're at the knotted side and I'm going to hold it with my thumb and my index finger. I'm going to use my other hand. I'm going to kind of twist it half towards me and then I'm going to just start wrapping all of that gathered ribbon right around the knot. So I'm not going up or down. I'm just wrapping right around where my finger is, kind of right on top of it there until both of the tails meet. So you have both of them meet each other. And then you're going to take that extra wire here and now you're going to just wrap the two tails together. And you're just going to keep wrapping it until you have no more wire. And then you can just kind of take your rose here and just kind of fluff out the ruffles. If you need to, I like to always go through it and make sure it's kind of all open. And then here's your really, really pretty ribbon rose. So like I said, you would just take your floral tape here if you wanted it to have a little tail. And you're just going to come right at the very top. And also sometimes people have like a little hole, like a little space back there, like that little opening. That's normal. And when you start using like your 2.5 inch, you'll have like a larger hole. So don't get discouraged if you're like, there's a big gap there. As long as the ribbon is holding its shape and the rose is holding its shape, then you don't have to worry about it. So now we're just going to take our floral tape and we're putting it right on top of our wire on the stem there. And now we're just going to twist it. And remember to make sure you are giving your floral tape just a little bit of a tug so it kind of activates it to get sticky. And then we're just going to keep wrapping that extra piece of ribbon, that little tail that we had left over. And you're just going to keep wrapping it. Just like that. And now you have a stem. So if you wanted to, you could have easily taken like a piece of floral wire, put it down here. I would, like if you're just new at doing this, I would wrap the stem first and then take a piece of floral wire and then wrap it together. And then your rose is on a stick, like it has a stem. Or you could just leave it like this. I sometimes have done it. I just had a big order where I had the alligator clips. So I get these 2-inch alligator clips here. I get them from Amazon and I'll try to link them in the descriptions. And then what I would do is once I've kind of wrapped it, I'll cut a little bit of that tail. And there's like a little hole in the top of these alligator clips. And all you would do is you would just put your rose the little stem there, and I kind of twist the alligator clip on, and then I would just take some glue and put it around where the clip is and the stem is, and then you have your rose is now on a little clip, so you can just clip them into your trees. This is a little more time consuming, but these are good, you know, if you don't want to have a stick and you just clip them, and then they're easier to store because they're smaller, you don't have the whole stem. So that's another option for you for the roses. And they also make great if you have like a wedding going on or something and you want to have something different than a real flower. Definitely use these in bouquets, all kinds of fun stuff. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to use our 2.5 inch ribbon, and we're going to make the same rose. But when you're using 2.5 inch ribbon, you need to use more than 1.5. And so like if you wanted to use a 7/8 inch ribbon, then you need to use less than what you would for the 1.5 inch, okay? I have not made a ribbon rose like with 4 inch unless it was folded over. And if you use 4 inch ribbon folded over, you want to use just about a yard. If you try to use make a rose with just a 4 inch, like just one side, it's not going to gather enough because it's too wide, and it's not gonna work. So really you're only gonna probably be able to do 2.5 inch. You might be able to do a 3 inch ribbon, and the 3 inch ribbon's not really a normal size anyway. It's kind of like a specialty size, but definitely 2.5 inch, 1.5 inch, and then like your 1 inch and 7/8 inch you can make a flower with. All right, so for this one I'm going to pull it all the way stretched, and then I'm going to still take and I'm going to pull it again for about like 18 more inches. So it's about 1.5 yards. And now we're going to do the same thing. Everything is the same. So we're going to just take it, and we are going to put a knot on the end here. Probably should have tested this first. I don't know if this one's going to make a good rose or not. I haven't tested the wire to see if I can gather it. We'll find out together. So this is the pretty side. So you want the pretty side facing away from you, and then we're going to do the right side and pull that wire. Now, I also realized, because when I was trying to show my daughter how to make the roses, she was all backwards because she's left-handed. So if you're left-handed, you might want to do everything the opposite of what I'm doing. It might help you. I don't really know because I'm not left-handed. So, but I do know that she, like when she was doing it, because she was using her other hand, so everything was all backwards for her. So it was a little bit of a learning curve. So the thing is, I'll explain to you in just a minute, there is a reason why you want to have your ribbon facing away from you and taking that one side of the wire. And that's because when you go to form your rose, if it's the other way and you go to twist it, then it's going to be backwards. So you're going to be, the inside of your rose is going to be the back of your ribbon, and you don't want that unless it's just a solid color, like if you have like a canvas kind of a ribbon or like a sheer, then it doesn't matter. It won't matter at all because you don't have a front or back really of the ribbon. But like these kinds of ribbons, you have a front and you have a back, but you want like the nice sparkly glittery side to be the inside of your flower. So that's why I do it that way. And if you do it the other way, it's not a problem. You just have to wrap it the opposite way. So I'll show you just in a second. So let me just make sure I gathered it good enough so it kind of went through. Let me make sure I go through one more time here. Okay, now we're going to take our excess wire here. I'm going to fold that piece down, and then we're going to wrap it. Now sometimes because you are using longer amount of wire here for the 2.5 inch, you can go ahead and cut it if you want to, but again, I just keep it because like when my daughters are playing softball and we'd have to be at the softball tournaments all weekend, these are the perfect thing to bring because all you need is scissors and a ribbon. You don't even really need a trash can because as long as you keep your wire and you just wrap it, there is no trash involved. So you just need your ribbon and scissors because you can always do your stems and stuff when you get home. Okay, so basically what I'm saying is, so when I twist it this way, that's what's keeping the good side on the inside. So if you were to pull it from the other way, it'll probably look like this and you'll have all of your back side looking at you. So when you go to twist it, you'll be twisting it and it will be like this. So this is how your flower is going to look. See, all of the pretty stuff is on the outside and then it's just the back side on the inside, and you don't want that. So if you do twist it, or if you gather it down and you're like, wait, it's wrong, all you do is just untwist it, and then you're just going to twist it the opposite way. So now I'm switching sides, switching my hand. So I'm switching to my right hand now, and now I'm going to twist it, like turn it towards me, and then I'm going to take all this gathered ribbon, and again, just like we did with the 1.5 inch, we're going to just wrap it around where my finger and thumb is, and I'm not moving my thumb or my index finger. And I don't want to wrap this one too tight because again, this is why you can't really go any wider with like your 4-inch ribbon, because see how it falls out, it won't do that properly with when it gets any wider. So now that I'm wrapping it, if I keep trying to wrap it tighter, it's going to want to keep falling down there, and I don't want that. So that's how you're going to end up with that little gap in the back. So instead, I'm not going to go super tight. I'm just going to go to where it won't fall down anymore, or if I go like that, it'll stay up. And then I'm going to take my wire here and then I'm just going to wrap the 2 stems together. Get that out of the way until my wire is finished. All right, and then again I'm going to kind of come through here, fix my rose, and now this is a 2.5 inch. So now the back of this one I'm going to show you because it's going to have a much larger gap, and it's okay. So this one, you see that gap back there? That's because we don't want to pull it tight, because if you pull it too tight, then this will not pop up. It's just going to want to lay down like that. So that's why you're going to have that, you know, big space back there. As long as it still holds its shape, you'll be fine. And the same thing, we're just going to take our floral tape here, and then you'll just wrap there. Now, if you were to come through, like if you give this to a little kid or something, yeah, they're going to be able to tear it apart. But little kids can tear anything apart. So it's not like it's, you know, indestructible. It's still going to be able to, like, if you were to pull at it, you know, and do all the things. But otherwise, like having that little space back there, not having it super tight, it's not going to be a problem. You're not going to have any issue with it. So we're just going to keep wrapping. Then you have your stem there for that one, and then this nice big flower. So this, and then you have your 1.5 inch. So these are the 2 sides. So this is a 1.5 inch ribbon, and then this is a 2.5 inch ribbon. And now we're going to make our bubble rose using the 2.5 inch ribbon. So for the bubble rose, you're not going to pull as much as you would if you're making a rose like this. And that's because you're going to be gathering a lot more material. So it's not going to gather as nicely. It's going to have a little larger gathering. So you're going to only want to pull it just about a yard. And then I always just do a couple inches longer. Set that to the side. And again, we're going to do the same thing, except for when we tie our knot, we want to make sure we're tying it where both of the, like the back side of your ribbon is touching each other and the nice side's outside in the front. And that's important because when we go to pull our wires, it's going to have to be folded over. So if you make your knot like this and then you try to go fold it, this bottom part is not going to cooperate. So make sure that when you fold your ribbon, you're folding it so the bad sides are touching each other and the good sides on the outside. So we're going to fold it, then we're going to just take our knot, or make our knot with our little tail there. Then you're going to come onto the other side here, and I'm going to pull it tight from the knot side all the way here, and I'm folding it in half. So we have our good side on the outside, and now we have it both folded in half there. Then we're going to come over here, and we're going to take the wire out of both sides at the same time. So I'm just pushing to get that wire started, and then I'm just going to start pulling and then gathering the ribbon down. Now if you have an issue, like if it's hard, that wire hurts you, some people have said they take like a little chopstick or skewer or something, and they'll wrap the wire around it and then pull so it's not hard on your fingers. So that's a great idea to do that if you're having an issue with it. This one is going to be definitely, you want to get used to making the other roses first before you get into making your bubble roses, because you're going to have to kind of get a feel for how to gather. And when you pull these ribbons, you want to make sure that you're pulling them at the same time, so you don't have like a big weird ruffle right at the beginning. So definitely master the other two first and then move into making a bubble rose. Okay, so I'm just pulling, gathering. And then I'm going to come through and I'm going to pull it again. And again, you're going to want to make sure both ends. So sometimes like this one here, this top end did not gather as much as the other side. So I'm going to kind of come through and I'm going to pull just on that one side of the ribbon a little bit, and then just kind of try to gather it as much as I can. Just going to come through and just keep pulling. Like that. And now we have our, this is it for the bubble. So see, it doesn't gather as much down. The other ones would kind of probably be about here because you're gathering two sides at the same time. So it's a little bit thicker. So now we're going to do the exact same thing though. Take our ends, squeeze them together, and then we're going to just wrap this wire. Now, this one I do cut. And I cut it because now you're dealing with two wires. So if you keep wrapping it till you get, you know, to like the size you want, you're going to have a lot of wire wrapped around this part. So this one you can go ahead and just just cut it, you know, when you're ready. So you don't have to have all of that extra wire there. And then you're going to just take your knotted side. And again, I'm going to just twist it towards me, and then I'm going to take all of my gathered ribbon, and I'm just wrapping it right around where my thumb and my index finger are, right around that knot. And now that they meet each other, we're going to take our wire here, both of our pieces of wire, and we're just going to wrap. Just like that. So now I do the same thing. I'm going to come through, kind of pull it all apart, or not pull it apart, but like pop out the little ruffles, and then there is our bubble rose. So Both of these roses are made from the exact same size of ribbon, but you see the difference? So this one is without it folded over. You get a bigger flower. It's just, you know, a little more loose, where this one is folded over, so you get a smaller size, just like the 1.5 inch, but you're not getting that seam. Sometimes I don't like, in this one, I love having that black for the seam. This one, I don't really love the seam. So like the next roses I make will probably be bubble roses, because then it's seamless. So it's just all ribbon. So that's why you have the different options of how to make them. I was trying to see if I had a 7/8 inch ribbon here. I could actually, we could probably make one. I'll show you real quick how to make a little rose with, like, this is a 7/8 inch ribbon. This one was from Michael's. So for this one, you only need about 18 inches, okay? You do not need a yard. So just about 18 inches. Cut it. Same thing, you're gonna make a little knot. And you can also do the bubble rose with the 1.5 inch. I like them because it looks like little dollops of frosting. Really cool. See, this one doesn't matter. It doesn't really have a front or back, so it doesn't really matter. So we're just gonna take that one side and we're gonna gather it down. And I'm just making sure I gather all the way nice and tight, because that gather is super important. And then we're going to put these together. Fold that little piece of wire down there. And we're going to wrap it. Sometimes the wire will kind of twist on you, so you want to untwist it. Just wrap it. Now we're going to take our knotted side. Same thing, but you're using a littler piece of ribbon, so you want to make sure you keep it right there on that little knot. Twist it all together. You're going to take your wire and wrap it. And again, I just kind of come through and I just open my flower. That's what I'm trying to say. Then you have a little mini rose. These are fun on like little mini trees and things. If you just want a little mini rose for something, or if you're doing like a little attachment, and you just want it to have just a little mini something, that's what these ones are good. So if you do the 1.5 inch and you fold it over, it becomes this size too. So if you fold over, if you do the 1.5 inch folded over, again, you don't need a full yard. You're gonna want to use less than, so probably about 2 feet for if you do these ones folded over, the 1.5 inch folded over. But that's all. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you guys go out and you make some really pretty ribbon roses. And remember, the best ribbon for this is like your cheaper ribbon. And you can still get some really pretty ones. Like this is a Sam's Club this year. This was my ribbon outlet. This was Sam's Club last year. This was just a Michael's one. But they make the best roses. So you don't have to spend a ton of money, but it, like the impact on your tree and things, it's going to be huge. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Remember to subscribe to my channel if you like everything that you see here. Do a thumbs up, and I will try to link the alligator clips that I used here into the description for you guys, so that you'll know in case you want to use some of those. So all right, everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Bye.